Hello and welcome, my dirty, thieving cran melters. It's SJB here, and I recently made a video where I talked about the best tower ever, and it was Dragon's Breath Wizards, and I was super surprised at how amazing they were. And in the comments, somebody was like, well, Chris, I mean, you're spamming Dragon's Breath Wizards, and they're really freaking good. Why don't you ask the community? What do they think the best towers are to spam in the game? And I was like, You would think that most people would agree that certain towers are easily more spammable than others, and there's like a clear winner. And for most of them, that is indeed true. So what I decided to do for you guys in this video is, instead of trying to quote-unquote spam the best towers in the game or spam the worst towers in the game for right now, all I wanted to do was make a sort of educational video. Now, this is a video that not everybody's going to need. Most people probably know how a lot of these towers kind of work together and work well together. But there's always those little intricacies that you might not know about that I wanted to talk about today. So, before we get too deep in here, the 4 towers that you guys recommended as the most spammable towers in Bloons Tower Defense 6 are Banana Farms. Okay. Ninjas, which we're using right now, Druids by the largest margin, and then Submarines. Okay, I mean, all of that sounds pretty reasonable. I think there's one that you guys very clearly overlooked in all of this, and I don't even think it had that great of a counterpart to it. I mean, yes, subs are pretty decent to spam here, but in my opinion, cannons. Cannons, man! Striker Jones plus cannon spam is one of the best strategies in the game. So anyways, what I'm going to be doing for you guys today is I'm just going to be playing around with 3 of these 4 different sets of towers, because I think everybody knows Banana Farms and the reason why they're good, and especially when involving spamming things. I wanted to make a video where I just go over those 3 spammable towers, talk about why you could or should spam them, and kind of just have some fun with it. So that's what we're going to do today. To start you guys off, we should note that ninjas are very spammable for one very specific reason. Shinobi tactics. Increases attack speed and pierce. And pierce! That's one of the keys here. Of nearby ninjas, stacks up to 20 times. Chicka, what? 20 times? That is pretty absurd. So the best way to make this happen is, if you're really trying to spam, you know, you could start doing this early game, but usually it's better to kind of wait for late game to make this all happen. But that's okay. We're going to try to make this happen right from the get-go and just sort of spam them, not as a solo tower, but as a mostly solo tower here. So going to be using our hero. I got a free Dart Monkey. I'm not going to be wasting that guy. And then if I pop down like a sub or something like that later on, because I feel like getting smacked through popping power, I want to make that happen too. But we're going to be focusing on the ninjas. That is our main goal here. So what I want to do is I want to get some random 2-0-0 ninjas to start, just to kind of get the game flowing a little bit. I'm going to go for a pretty quick Bloon Jitsu here to also get the game flowing a little bit. I want to make sure I'm alchemizing at least this one ninja here. And then what I want to do is I want to start getting all of my ninjas up to Shinobi tactics. And that will power up not only the other ninjas around them, but also the most powerful ninjas that I have, which in this case will be my Bloon Jitsu with Seeking Shuriken and Caltrops. And hopefully that combo will just end up being absolutely delicious throughout the entire process here. But starting off strong, obviously. If you guys are enjoying the spamming, make sure you spam that like button with me. And if you want to be extra fancy, you can go over to the creator support section and spam SJB into this little box right here, and then hit confirm. Thank you so much, my spam atrocities, and enjoy the show. If there is at all a weakness to this strategy, it's got to be the early game. Mostly because 2-0-0 ninjas are not really that powerful. Getting the 3rd tiers for every single set of these ninjas really does make a big difference. Flash Bomb, clearly. Bombs, exploding, lead popping power, camo lead popping power, stunnage, it's amazing. Shinobis, stackable. And then Double Shot, doubling your popping power from the previous upgrades. Like, clearly, all of those are very, very, very good things to have around. And right now, I am getting none of the bonuses out of any of my ninjas just yet, but that's okay. We still got a ninja elk, and that's usually good enough to get you started in the game. So don't feel bad about getting this guy instead of, like, starting the game by spamming shinobis. Like, you can kind of work your strategy into a shinobi spam rather than being a shinobi spam that just slowly gets better and better over time. Anyways, money is going to start flowing in through the 40s to the 50s here, so we can start to get our shinobis going real good here. But I am going to recommend to you guys just shinobis, not that great. just alchemizing one ninja, not that great. You want to use your support towers whenever possible. So we're going to use a village. Even if it means we don't get 20 times stacked ninjas, that's okay. We still want to get whatever we can kind of combined together here in the most effective way possible. So we got a jungle drums. Yeah, we got mostly everybody here, but we left some space for ourselves. And now it's time to spam some ninjas. Before I truly get down to my shinobi spam, one other tower that I am going to get is I'm going to buy at least one bottom path ninja up to flash bomb. And with this guy, I'm going to go for a top path all the way up here. And I'm actually going to go all the way up to a sticky bomb here as well. And this is all, but again, before I built a single shinobi. This is how much time and effort it takes to even get this strategy started in here. All right, you really do need to kind of like bide your time. Just get some towers that are already pretty decent at the game here. But don't forget that you are not unstoppable during this time. And it's also a little bit goofy on kind of like where you position your guys, because certain maps are going to be much more difficult to pull this off, specifically on maps where you have two different areas where balloons are either going to come in or leave. That can make things a little bit stickier for sure. But check this out. Right now, obviously, we're winning, but I would not say that we're straight up dominating. I'm still like a little bit afraid of the balloons here and there. But now I'm going to swap into a full-on shinobi spam. I'm just going to go shinobi's tactics, and then for every single one of these ninjas, I'm at the very least going to buy ninja discipline, only for the range, but also because, you know what, why not? But I'm not going to go to sharp shurikens here. This is a weird thing that I think is almost too fancy, possibly for its own good. But you really don't need the sharp shurikens. It can help you out here, but really you're focusing on powering up your other good ninjas already. So just make sure you got that range, and you're going to be good, man. It's round 63. This is with just random ninja spams, man. This is nothing else. No cannons, no nothing. Just regular old ninja spam. If you're looking at the amount of shinobis that I've got, wait until this one's done so I can get you the real official count here, because this will be all of my ninjas officially shinobified or upgraded to the upgrades that I want to have upgraded. And right now, most of my ninjas are going to be about 12 times shinobified. Don't forget that some of the ones on the edges here might not be fully shinobi because all of the ranges don't necessarily overlap with each other. So we got 11s, 9s, 10s, 12s here and there. Just kind of a combined total, but the two main ones that I want to be upgraded even higher, those guys are my 12 times. So that's kind of the main goal in every situation. Make sure your best ninjas are going to be highestly shinobified. I'm so sorry that I do this to you guys, where I just add ified and ises and residuesers and whatever I want to at the end of words here. It just makes things so much more exciting and so much more fun. So hopefully you guys can put up with my crap here a little bit and just kind of watch the ownage sauce. And there it is too, sauce, you know, like everything can be a sauce on Shinobi sauce. Everything can be saucified. You just throw it on the top of anything, right? It just makes it better. That's the point of sauce, bro. But anyways, life is good. This is going very, very, very well, and I see why this is a top-tier strategy. All right, while we're wrapping up this game mode with this pretty amazing-tastic strategy, let's talk about just a few more things and intricacies that can kind of make you a little bit better. First of all, you're always one step away from a balloon sabotage while doing this, so if you ever struggle against some balloons, get a balloon sabo, get 15 seconds to slow down. It's more than enough extra help for you in most situations. Again, for a pretty cheap price. You can even buy multiple of them if you really want to get down on it. And then the other two things to think about is which 5th tier tower should you really be going for if you're going to try to stretch yourself to going for a 5th tier tower. Grandmaster is usually pretty powerful, and if you've already got Permabrew, Grandmaster Ninja might be the way to go for just kind of regular, everyday popping power. But in most situations, believe it or not, the Master Bomber is going to be better. And the reason why is because he slows and or stuns Moabs when his bombs explode. So basically, anytime you have big grouped chunks of Moabs and BFBs and Summon Gods kind of all on top of each other, usually at the most difficult rounds, you're just going to slowly pop those guys while stunning them, kind of keeping them in place and just making yourself become almost unstoppable. So highly recommend, whenever possible, get the Master Bomber instead of any of the other ninjas if you have him Shinobi-ified. In addition, is there a magic number of Shinobis that you should actually try to get to? I don't know if there's for sure like an exact percentage increase buff if you have like 13 compared to 12 or something like that. But what I can tell you is, based on what I've seen, just generally the higher the better. So you kind of have to gauge what you think is going to be the best combo of going for 5th tiers with Shinobis kind of all combined together. For me, this would be about the perfect time for me to say, well, I'm going to save up and just on round 81 buy a Master Bomber, and I would easily win the game. That would be my plan. Here it is. Oh my god, look at this guy, man. He's reaching far across the screen there. Woo! And as oh my god, with no buffs, no abilities. Well, I shouldn't say no buffs. No abilities here. You can see this thing getting taken down very, very, very easily. No problem at all. Absolutely stunningly beautiful. That's the ninja strategy. Hopefully you enjoyed. Let's move on. Next up, we've got the druid spam. Why should you druid spam? Again, it all comes down to one single upgrade here. We're talking about the Pop Lust. And again, it's going to say something very similar to the ninja. Boost attack speed, which is good, but increases pierce. Oh, well, that is just absolutely delicious. And again, you have to make sure that you are in range of your other towers, so you can't just put them, you know, randomly over here or something like that. It really is a spam in a central location. This one is a little bit more difficult to get started in here because we don't have any automatic cam detection, so we are going to have to do something with the village and or an alchemist to kind of get started in here. And then one other thing is that, you know, even though you can only get it up to 5 times boosted, you still want to go for 6 druids altogether at the very least. But you can go for more than 6 very, very easily to kind of complete your strategy and everything. So we're going to go for a village kind of at the corner over here. Once we get the range upgrade, it won't be a big deal. We're going to go for another druid here, just kind of clean up our 6 druid combo. And we're going to show you kind of the intricacies later on of getting random other druids to combine together. And then for now, I'm just going to get a random dart monkey up to cam detection just because I don't want to worry about round 24. Before we get too deep here, it should be noted real quickly that I am using Pat Fusty for this strategy, but I think most people would say that Open is clearly phenomenally better for this strategy if you want to be better or more successful in this, but I don't feel bad about using other heroes. It's usually more powerful enough to make it all happen here, even in the early game. Right now, these are just random 6 druids with a Pat Fusty, and I have not had any issues with this strategy at all. And I was able to afford a 2-2 village, which is basically just a support village doing almost nothing at this point as far as popping power is concerned. I mean, 15% is a decent bonus, but early game here, it's not usually a big deal. And then we want to start upgrading up to our druids. So you can go pretty much in any order and pathway that you want to, but I usually like to get some sort of lead popping power as my first druid. And I like Heart of the Thunder personally, so I'm going to go for a top path, which is important for your druids if you ever are worrying about DDTs in the later on part of the game. You know, round 90 is your first DDT, so if you're only playing around 80, no big deal, doesn't matter at all. But usually, in my opinion, I like going for top path druids more than middle path druids, but a good mix is always good too. If you're definitely going to go for an MIB, though, something that automatically is going to help you pop leads, or a perma-brew, which will also automatically make you pop leads, middle path is going to be significantly better because you're going to have more thorns and more things to spray out against the Moab class Bloons, giving you more Moab popping power and bad popping power, which is a big problem with this strategy. Anyways, here we go. Here's our first Pop Lust. So when we get a Pop Lust druid, you're going to notice that every single one of my druids around us in range is going to get this little ×1 multiplier, very similar to that multiplier for our ninjas. Actually, round 40 could be a little bit difficult for us. It's going to depend a little bit on how lucky Pat gets. Let's see what happens, man. I'm a little curious. We're going to wait a little bit here, and we're going to do a Pat ability kind of at the end here, and oh no! Look at that, dude. All right. So this is definitely one of the biggest weaknesses to this strategy is the very, very start here. Clearly, timing and abilities and stuff can matter, but once you get up to just a few Pop Lust druids, this strategy changes completely. You've basically opened yourself up for absolute domination. We set ourselves up with this village already. We don't have to worry about pretty much anything for the rest of the game besides building druids, basically. And for this guy, I'm going to go Thorn Swarm, and I'm going to go Heart of the Oak, because I don't want to worry about regrow Bloons either later in the game. And we're just going to start spamming. Spam-a-ram-a-ding-dong, bro. So this is round 49 currently with our 4 Pop Lust druids. And again, don't forget that every single Pop Lust druid we add in here is going to increase our popping power drastically. So we have currently become basically unstoppable. I don't want to call it fully unstoppable because there's still, like, round 63 could be a little bit difficult. But we're pretty much where we want to be for the rest of the game here. Pop Lust druids up to 5 times boosted, baby. So what do you do at this point? Well, this is where it can get a little funky, because you can either support them with an elk, or whatever the heck else you want to support them with, get other supporting towers like ice towers and things like that, or realistically, what most people are going to do is they're going to start saving up for the Avatar of Wrath. This is the big boy. If you get an Avatar of Wrath, you win Chimps mode. It's almost a fact of life, so people like to go for that. It's not the only way to play the game, but it is definitely one of the top-tier ways to play the game if you're struggle-lugging on a map that only has one pathway here. But we basically won the game. What I am going to do, though, is I'm going to buy 2 different alchemists because I believe that they're going to help us out in this game. So we're going to go for 1 alch up here. We're going to go for 1 alch down here. And both of these guys are going to be buffing some of our druids. And we're going to go for a very similar alch to usual. We're going to go for a 4-0-2, though, because I want to alch as many of these druids as I possibly can, rather than really trying to get the extra boost out of them, right? So this is pretty important, though, to kind of make sure that you're going to survive long enough to actually get an Avatar Wrath going. But there are other options. Now, I think a lot of people would assume that going for the Avatar Wrath is really the only way to play this strategy out, but that is completely untrue. There are other towers that are just as good, if not possibly better, for this strategy to combine with these 5 Populous Druids. And that's what I want to show you guys today. I want to go for a Spirit of the Forest, while he is currently mega buffed and super ridiculously powerful, I should add. Now, also, we're not going for any extra money or anything like that. If we wanted to farm and make, you know, random alchemists, do rubber to gold crap or something like that, like, we could easily make all of that stuff happen. We're going to play within the regular constraints of the game just to make this happen properly. Here's round 63, by the way. You can see as we slow this down, this is how far the Bloons are getting. I mean, it's really not very much, but it should be noted that this is a map that kind of favors more infinite range kind of towers, or towers that can kind of fly over walls like Monkey Aces or Heli Pilots or Mortars or something like that. So getting all of your guys kind of piled up together in one little bundle, I don't want to call it bad, but not ideal. This is going to be really close, but I think we're going to be like a few $100s away from our Spirit of the Forest before round 80, which is kind of sad. Look at that, $600 away on round 80. And I also will admit that I did not use very efficiently at all my banana farm ability here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to free play just for a little bit. I'm not going to play all the way in, but this is Spirit of the Forest now. Just kind of check out the power of Spirit of the Forest. Ooh. I'll admit I screwed him up a little bit. Spirit of the Forest should be closer to the map whenever possible. In fact, if I could, I would move him either over here or just somewhere over here possibly to make his vines do more damage. But realistically, even like this, he is totally fine. We're actually relying a lot on his Spirit of the Forest vines going out and grabbing things more than the vines that are randomly on the screen already to do the damage. But you're going to see now we've got a combo of almost unbelievable power here. Everything's getting popped at the very beginning here, and that's why this is such a good spam combo. Next up, we've got Submarines. You guys voted Submarines, surprisingly, as one of your favorite, most spammable towers. This one intrigues me quite a bit, because I honestly don't think subs are that fun to spam. On certain maps, it is required to spam them pretty decently, but even when you spam subs, you're usually not building like 30 of them, or 20 of them, or even 10 of them. You kind of max out at maybe 5, 6, 7, or 8, something like that, which I guess is even more spammy than the Druids, if you... I hate that I keep saying this. If you really get down and think about it, I gotta stop saying it. We're gonna start with a 3-sub combo to get going in here. We're gonna go for a quick Pat Fusty. I don't know, Pat Fusty doesn't really make that much sense in this map. We're gonna use him anyways. Yeah, I don't even know where to put him, bro. Just gonna put him right about Shmur. I feel like I'm having trouble getting him close to the edge here. And he really does feel like he's Godzilla right now. You know, he's like invading some sort of island or something like that. It's kind of funky. But it all comes down to one upgrade again for the submarine, kind of. Sub-Commander. Adds extra pierce and damage to the commander and all subs in its radius. And it should be noted that in its radius is kind of wrong. On Chimps mode, yes, in your radius will definitely matter. On non-Chimps mode, there's a monkey knowledge point that'll allow you to have your sub-commander affect anything on the entirety of the screen. So for most players, if you have most monkey knowledge points, or specifically that monkey knowledge point, it doesn't matter where you put your subs. It'll automatically affect all of them. But on Chimps mode in particular, even if you got the monkey knowledge, you got to be careful with that. You got to put the subs in the radius, and that is a big deal. Because right now, clearly all my subs kind of all over the place. If nobody's getting buffed by the sub-commander, that would be pretty brutal for me, dude. But I'm going to show off how absolutely delicious the sub-commander actually is. By the way, if you guys are hearing my dog bark, I still got the window open over there, and she is getting quite feisty. I actually went over there because I heard her like going crazy out the window, and I was like, what the heck are you barking at? And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm actually going to accept this as a reasonable thing to bark at. There was this squirrel outside in the tree. No joke, like, I don't even know what to say. It was like kind of like cleaning its tail or like fluffing its tail out, and she's like, nah, you can't get me. Look at my delicious squirrel tail. You can't have none of this action. It was kind of funny, actually, just to kind of, like, watch it unfold. This stupid frickin' squirrel, man. She did not like that squirrel at all. And believe it or not, she's actually more of a bunny dog than a squirrel dog. She really likes to try to catch the bunnies. But the squirrels, when we're on our walk, just sort of like, look at that squirrel, I see you. You're lucky. You're lucky I'm not in the mood to kill you today. But either which way, actually, believe it or not, I don't think that my dogs have killed any animals that I am aware of. Oh, I forgot about cam detection. That I am aware of. But there was definitely a couple baby birds that got pretty freaking close with Luna, man. She like literally had like, she was drooling at this baby bird. I could tell she really wanted to eat that thing. All right, so what do we got going on next here? This is what I'm gonna do. I don't know if I love this strategy, but at the very least, I'm gonna go for one more sub right here. I want to put it somewhere in the front part of the map, and I'm also gonna put him next to Pat Fusty, because if I really wanted to, if I wanted to get cray-cray, I could probably go for some sort of Energizer sub or something like that. But for right now, we're going to let Pat Fusty be our lead popping power. This is going to be our cam detection. And I'm also going to go for the nuclear sub just to kind of have it. It's not really that good on this map. And in most situations, I would say don't go for it. Go for some sort of village combo or something like that. Specifically, if you want to get a village around your subs all around this area. Not a bad idea, by the way. That could work out for you. But we're just going to go for Bloons Tiny Reactor. And I'm feeling the extra lead pop power, just in case Pat can't keep up for some reason. We're just going to go for this guy and this combo, and that should be good enough for us to just kind of, like, get going in this game. Alright, we got a lot of money saved up. It's about that time. We're going to go triple guns and armor-piercing darts. The reason why I spread out my subs so much is because I wanted the advanced intel to make sure that it had something to work with at the very least, right? This sub up in the front here means the sub can actually see all the way up here, and then if they do decide to sneak through near the back, we've got that little bit of extra range as well. This shouldn't be that big of a deal, I don't think, but I have been proven wrong before. Yes, okay, the mob goes down pretty easily. What we're going to do is we're going to go for a quick island cell, and we're just going to elk him. All right, I hope that he's in range here. He looks like he's in range. I'm going to go for a stronger stim on our armor-piercing darts here, and then I think I'm going to straight up try to save up for a sub-commander soon after that. I think this might be enough popping power to get us going. If it's not, I'll probably just throw down a couple more airburst dart subs here and there, and let them just do some extra work here. And I believe it or not, I think I'm actually good with just a stronger stim. I'm not even going to upgrade up to the other random crap just yet. All right, we're getting close to our sub-commander money, and I am now realizing that out of all of the towers so far that we've been spamming, this is definitely the least spammable to start off the game with. It's around 56. We've got 4 subs, and 2 of them are base subs. This one's doing literally nothing. 7 pops. This guy, just because he's near the front, is actually doing something. But realistically, they're not doing that much as far as, like, cohesion goes. They're just kind of submarines doing their own individual jobs. But that's about to change. Now you're going to notice that this guy had 2,000 pops the entire part of the game here through round 50, and he's been able to pretty much attack the balloons the entire time. Well, let's see how much that changes here now that he's able to pop things as a base in advanced intel sub. In fact, once you get this submarine, it is not a bad idea to just check out the sub-commander ability here. You can kind of check to see if you're able to sub-command or not, within range or not within range, by just kind of going like this and seeing if you get the buff if you're not in range. And what we're going to do is we're just going to spam a bunch of subs. The only thing I don't want to do is I don't want to put it in range of my Alk here. I'd still like the Alk to be buffing this sub-commander, so that's all I really care about. And then the other thing is you got to watch the advanced intellishness of this guy a little bit. Because check this out. If we get advanced intel on a sub like this, he can't see the balloons until they come all the way across the peninsula down here. So you might be better off putting him over here, over here, over here, or even in silly spots like over here and here and here. It just like seems goofy, but like it still makes sense to build. So, oh crap! Guess he wasn't paying attention very well. That would be this guy over here. We're going to go for a bunch of advanced intel subs again. Boom, 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 boom. That'll give us a lot of that extra range. And I believe what's actually causing the problems here is actually the lead popping power. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go for one of these subs up to heat tip darts at the very least. And I might even get a ballistics missile as soon as I get the money for it. So let's see if we can make that happen. I'm also going to go for Pat Fusty's ability to start this off. And that should... Oh my god, look at that ballistics missile power. Holy crap, look at that game changer. Oh, delicious. Whew. All right. Now we're getting spam-a-ram-a-ding-dongin'. Yeah. All right, let's just see how this carries us through the rest of the game. Let's get this last advanced intel, and let's see when we start to run into any issues, if we run into any issues in the near future. Now, personally, what I would do is I would sort of sway my strategy away from spamming subs at this point and try to get something else kind of to combine together. Or maybe if I am going to go for subs, I start spamming into something strong, like a preemptive strike, you know? All of those are definitely possibilities here. But if you really want to keep up with the sub spam, do not feel bad about just getting some other random upgrades. Twin Guns and Airburst Darts is a great way to get tons of extra popping power out of your towers for a very little chunk of money. In fact, going all the way up to triple guns, not a bad idea either. But I haven't done this in a long, long time, so don't quote me on this. But the difference between triple guns and armor-piercing darts, I believe it is better to spam a bunch of triple guns than it is to spam a bunch of armor-piercing darts. I think like the overall damage buff increase and everything like combined together, it just makes more sense to get triple guns here rather than that. But again, don't quote me on that. That's just kind of my experience with it. And I don't honestly usually do the sub spam all that often. So maybe people do it way more than I'm used to. Usually, I think there's only like 2 or 3 maps where you can like really get down on the sub spam. You know, this map in particular, definitely sub spam worthy. But not all of them, man. Not all of them. The thing I don't like about sub spam is usually anything 80 plus, they start to wear off pretty quickly. I'm not saying he's worthless 80 plus, he's still pretty decent, but then he becomes very difficult to use against DDTs. He starts to run into issues with tons of group balloons, and the super ceramics are definitely way more problematic for a sub commander and his brethren over here to do anything to. So just take that all into consideration here. Usually they're sort of like a stepping stone where you want to get your sub-commander, get going in here, start saving up some money, and get some real players in here. Get some real big boys to make the final popping power plays that you need for the rest of the game. Whether it's a Sky Shredder or a Tac Zone or a biggest one or whatever the heck you need to get money for, start going for that instead. But it should be noted, check this out. This is, oh my god, this is at the very front of the screen. We're popping this guy, man. That is the power of the sub spam. Just like throw it out there really quickly that a lot of people think that the cannon spam is going to be bad, but I would completely disagree with you. I mean, this is round 63, and as you can plainly tell, the cannon spam does not seem to be doing too bad here. I mean, Striker Jones is going to buff up all of your monkeys, cannons and mortars included. And mortars. People say mortar spam is bad. Winkety coughety wink of the future. I have to completely disagree with you, man. I have to, and I'm sorry that I have to disagree with you, but we are officially starting our cannon spam here. You're going to see why this is so OP by the time we get to the end of the game here. Here it is. Cannon spam for the win. The end of round 77 through, the end of hard here, realistically. I did farm a little bit. I should admit that, you know. I mean, nothing too crazy. Got 3 marketplaces going for me. And I was able to get a flagship carrier. With an ice tower, which led me to getting a primary mentoring, which allowed me to get 2 ice towers kind of next to each other to make this cool ice bridge and build all of my cannons on. So all in all, spamming is actually kind of fun, and it could be a really effective strategy in Bloons Tower Defense 6. Hopefully you guys enjoyed me spamming these towers. If you guys wanted to be so nice that you wanted to spam that like button, that would be super duper extra nice here. And subscribe if you want to, and use my Nexus code if you want to, and have a super duper delicious day.